Record on this computer. There we go. Welcome to the Dice Are Bad Storytellers Johan story, a villain's journey. Uh,
After,
huh?
after dark.
After dark. Yeah, after the post campaign experience. Last we left off, Johan had subdued Edward Brightlance, killed his entire ship, and a third of the warlocks under his employ with a very, very terrifying spell, and had disguised himself as Edward Brightlance, as Elizabeth, the half-orc woman who found him after he was cast off the ship, is disguised as Corvus, I believe. No, wait.
No, she is disguised as Karina.
She's disguised as Karina, and you are disguised as Edward.
No,
Right?
I was Karina. She was Edward Brightlance. My bad.
That's right, because he was more quiet. That's right.
Yep.
And the past 2 days, let me see. I'm going to say, before we get to that, you are disguised as Edward. You're doing your best to, disguise yourself as this thing. It's pretty easy to do in all of the chaos of this entire country trying to move over. There are a handful of things you have to do, people you have to silence, kill, wizards who start to recognize there's deceit happening, little things like that. But you manage to get through the day without everybody discovering, and kind of manage to, poison pill your way into pretending to be Edward. As you are going to bed that night, I'm assuming you take off your illusion, you kind of get ready for the bed to renew your spells. What is Johan thinking right
now? We're on the ship?
Yes. You're like in Edward's quarters.
Yeah. I'm thinking about how weirdly successful I've been so far. And essentially that while I've been successful, my overall goal is to ruin everything for Karina. But at the same time, he also has a bit of a grudge against Sir Emery and sees him as a bit of a threat as well.
As you're feeling these kind of bitter thoughts, I'm just going to endow you with this. There's like a porcelain wash basin that has nice warm soapy water, and you're kind of doing like a small sponge bath just as you're unclothing. You find on your forearm another liar scrawled in firm black letters. There's another one that's appeared on your collarbone. And for all you know, there could be others elsewhere on your body, but you know that you have used disguise self at least 3 times.
Got it.
Maybe just 2 since you came off of this ship. And these marks are starting to accumulate on your body.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a problem. I suppose I'll have to deal with that sometime in the near future. How do I take down Sir Emery? How do I make
Elizabeth isn't in the room with you, but she's in the next room over. You assume she's getting ready for bed as well. You've heard that your father has joined this expedition, and he's on one of the ships that is going, that has made this journey to the mainland.
Okay. Gotcha. Elizabeth, I'll go over to her room after I dress again.
Yeah, you open the door. She's in like a very cushy kind of bathrobe. Yes, of course. So Johan. Sir
Have you figured out what our accompaniment is on this journey of ours?
You mean what resources are at our disposal?
Yes, and who is on what ship?
Well, I know your father, Dane Hollow, is on one. The Justicar is sick and ill back in Old Wessex. He wasn't able to make the journey. Assorted dignitaries, the entire members, closet of the Senate. They're on one ship, not the ship that we're on right now. And I know that the Justicar's flying ships are also scouting out. They're seeing if they can see where Sir Emery has left to, but it appears we've just missed him.
Hmm. Do you know what ship my father's on?
She goes, not off the top of my head, but I can review some records. I can pull that up and find that for you. Would you like to get one of our warlocks to find that for you?
Yes, that would be good. In the
She
meantime,
rings a bell, calls him over, sends him off. Yes, of course.
what do we know of Sir Emery's family?
Roll me a history check. Ooh, she got very good.
22.
22. She got a flat 19. I think with hers, I think she'll have a pretty good as well, but you'll know better than her actually. She goes, I know that they are commoners, that he was the first of his family to achieve wealth and nobility. I assume the last name of Warren.
Oren. And what is important about that name is that it has to be achieved.
Warren?
Oh, Warren, sorry. I thought you said Oren. My bad.
No, just Warren. It literally means just like a hovel. Like his father was an orphan, so he didn't have a last name, so he created one. I believe that Sir Emery is the first of any to have wealth in their family. They're just a bunch of commoners back in Old Wessex. They may have made the journey. I don't know. Should I tell them to search out and see if that can be discovered?
Yes, find them.
Okay. She calls up the same warlock, just before he leaves and figures things out, and says, also investigate into the Warren household, if they have accompanied us to Old Wessex. Okay.
So we're back in Old Wessex by this point, right?
Oh, you turned around and left to go back to Old Wessex?
I thought
This
that
is
was
the first day.
Okay.
This is the first day. You just assume stuff. If you want to make some diplomacy checks to try and get people to turn around, you can. There's a whole congress of people that have just voted alongside with Edward to come to the mainland. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying it's just going to be a pretty hard political pitch to get everybody to turn around.
Okay. And what was going on in Old Wessex that they all left again?
They just didn't feel safe there, and they felt like they were missing out on the new world. They thought that Old Wessex would be left behind as the rest of the world went to this mainland and had more bounty and land and history and all that stuff.
Okay. And Sir Emery's people are from the mainland, or are they from?
Sir Emery was so Sir Emery's family was from Old Wessex. The mainland has only existed for 4 years. Nobody is really from the mainland yet.
Then we go back to Old Wessex, and the next morning I am going to address the people as Karina.
Okay, as Karina. Okay, you change into Karina, and then Elizabeth, disguises herself as Edward, and you guys go out onto the ship. There is a contingency of guard protected congressmen from the main ship that have come to the king's ship, or the emperor in standing ship. And you see your father Dane is in the crowd. Roll me a perception check. I'll roll one for Elizabeth as well.
Hey, perception.
What'd you get? Sorry, I missed it.
19.
19. I'm going to say you see a much older man with graying hair. He doesn't seem to have his family with him, but he bears a striking resemblance to the man who threw you off that ship before.
Okay. People, those of you who have come with me, I know that it's strange that I would make this decision, but I believe that coming here was not smart. We know Old Wessex. We know its defenses. We know everything about it. It makes more sense to stay at home or to go back than to deal with the strange, terrifying new world that has just only recently risen from the ocean. Trust me, I've been out here. I've seen what can happen out here, and none of it is worth the time or the effort or the loss of lives that I'm sure we will suffer if we continue to stay here.
General murmur in the
check.
crowd. Yeah, roll diplomacy. There's a bunch of, oh gosh, we just got out here. What'd you get?
Got what's an 18 plus 17?
18 plus 17. 25, 35. Okay. 35. Holy cow. I'm going to say, as you're saying that, you see a bunch of people. You're doing a good performance. You are doing an excellent performance. You can see some people in the crowd that have been heard your story that Karina was betrayed by Emery and like thrown off the ship and Corvus saved her and on and on. You can see that they're just kind of crying. They're just so impossibly moved by your sentiment, and it's creepy, if that makes sense. Like Johan knows he's a good actor. This is a step beyond good actor. This is like brainwashing, like cult level, instantaneous, scary stuff. You see a couple people are still, but the majority of people are like impassioned by this. Elizabeth, disguised as Edward, says, "I know it is shocking and surprising, and we have just only finished our journey of several days here, but I happen to agree with my sister in this moment, and it need not be now, but it should be soon, that we turn about and return to Old Wessex. I know this is not all of Congress is represented here, but I suggest we make a vote for if we shall change our original plan and return to Old Wessex. And sister, since you are here, I no longer need to act as emperor, and you may act as empress, and I will be a sitting member of Congress and vote."
Thank you. Now, whatever we decide as a council, those of you who wish to, but I would urge the rest of you come back to Old Wessex with us. But we will vote on it.
What did you say was the repercussion if they stayed? I got some
Nothing.
Internet choppiness. Okay.
So,
yeah. Then let's do a vote.
I am going to. How many members of the council are there?
I'm gonna say there's like a Senate of 40, and there's about 30 of them here. I rolled a 1.
Okay.
And so you see one guy, one very old man who's got like a snarled frown and a big old wart on his lip, raises his hand and says, "This is nonsense. You've gone back and forth too many times." And the rest of the Congress kind of hush him up, and they all vote solemnly with you. And one of them gives a rousing speech about tradition and how this is how things must be. We cannot change, just as the oceans change suddenly. These will soon be swallowed into the sea, and that kind of a sentiment that was already there, but had been squashed by a long campaign by Edward. Anything else you would like to do now that you've kind of succeeded? Elizabeth takes your lead and is like, "We will lead ahead and we will return to Old Wessex now and expect the rest of the royal entourage to return within the week."
Okay.
Is that appropriate, sister?
Yes, that's fine. That's wonderful.
Empress, excuse me.
Yes. I'm still getting used to the title myself again. Listen. That's all I have to say. Make ready for the journey. We will leave tomorrow morning.
There's a hush. Yes, yes, we agree. People start to leave the ships. Many of the congressmen return. Some of the more affected congressmen decide to
Mhm.
switch over to your ship so they can leave with you soon because they're more committed to Johan.
Mhm.
Well, Karina, but the magical effect that Johan has put on them.
Yep.
Um, Dane Hollow seems to have a shrewd eye on you. And he wasn't unaffected by your performance, but again, he's got that shrewd eye of a incredibly powerful man who knows deceit when he sees it. And the fact that there was like a
Mhm.
double switch so quickly makes him squint his eyes at you. Especially that Edward has been so solemn about it. He stays behind to give some respects to you. He says, Empress, it is so good to see that you're in good health. Then he goes down to gives a bow. I'm so sorry that my son and your husband was not here to enjoy your rise to power.
Yes. It is quite poetic.
He stops himself as he's walking away. I heard rumor that Edward had heard, I know it's madness, but had heard Johan's voice some days before and was believed he may be alive. Do you know anything of Edward? Excuse me, Johan?
You cut out there for a second. What all did you say?
He basically is just like, I heard that there was a rumor that Edward was alive from Edward, or Johan was alive from Edward, that he had had a nightmare of him or heard his voice. And he's kind of, you can tell he's kind of testing the waters to know if Karina knows Johan is alive.
Yes, I heard of this dream.
I'm sorry you're tortured so much.
It is okay.
Okay. He bows and starts to take
Miss
his
him.
leave off the ship. What?
Mm-hmm. I said I miss him.
I miss him as well.
Do you?
Despite it all, I do. And I'm sorry that he left you in your time of need.
Are you staying here or are you going back to your ship?
Would you, with a request from the Empress, I would return with you immediately. I miss my, as earthquake rattled as it is, I miss my estate on the mainland.
Then please return with us. We'll make you a member of the council. It's only fair because with how much input you've had.
This is a huge deal to him. This is something that Edward denied him even after he was made king because Edward didn't trust him. He goes, yes, of course, I'll send my retainers to gather my things and return them to the ship immediately. Thank you.
Yes.
I have my own ship. I'll just follow you in tow.
You don't need to do that. You can stay on mine. I'll make sure
Yes.
there's a big room ready for you.
Yes, Empress. He bows and he sends his retainers to go get his thing and gets comfortable on the deck.
Okay. I asked Elizabeth to find Emery or Sir Emery's father and send him in.
She does. She comes up to him. You see him, as you're having this discussion, have a hush word with him and says, you can't hear the conversation, but it sounds like he looks very scared and nods, and is waiting right behind because I picture you guys still on the deck. Would you want to take this into a room?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks very scared and follows you into this royal waiting room. He goes, "Oh, miss, I'm awful sorry. My son has always been noble, and I can scarcely believe that he's done what he did to you. Um, he was always a good kid, better kid than any I've ever had, and I'm flummoxed that he would ever do something so terrible. I hope you can forgive the Warren name. It's a humble name, but I thought it made at least one good kid."
The Warren name does concern me.
He
One
gets on
man
his
who
knees and he
one man who
bows.
commit such an act of just sheer hatred must come from a line that is capable of much worse, don't you think?
Sir, ma'am, I swear I've never even thought of killing nobody. Never. I stole some bread as a kid, and I felt so bad I nearly just threw up right there on the spot. I I I thought the apple doesn't fall from the tree, but I've never done nothing like betray nobody. I swear I've never even had a mean thought in my life.
Well, don't you think that people like that should be dealt with?
By people who don't have mean thoughts, or the people you're talking about that are all born bad and live bad and are bad?
The second lot.
Uh, I think everybody's got to be given a chance, whether they're awful or good, and let them prove to themselves and the rest of the world whether they're awful and good. And my son made a mistake, and I I can't forgive him for that, but he can read the writing on the wall. He's scared that you're going to kill him. He's very, very scared. But he says, I never done nothing wrong, and I would like to be given chances to prove that I won't do nothing wrong, rather than killed before I can make a chance. But the Empress knows best, and I'll follow the Empress wherever she goes.
1 second, I'm looking up a rule. I also need to get my cat to stop playing with the wires under my desk. Yeah, you. Alrighty then.
You know, I hope that if my son ever was given a second chance, he'd take it, and I hope someday you'll give him that second chance as well.
Oh, he'll get his second chance. However, I'm afraid his bloodline will not.
What?
And I am going to motion to Elizabeth to restrain him.
Mm-hmm. She grabs him behind the back, easily restrains this old man, brings him to his. Well, he's already on his knees. Just puts him in a headlock right in front of you.
Okay. Would he be counted as incapacitated?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use my ability to create thrall, and he is now charmed by me, and I can telepathically communicate with him on the same plane until a remove curse spell is cast on it. Charm condition is removed, which means that he can't attack me or target me with harmful abilities or magical effects, and I have advantage on any ability check to interact socially with that creature. And then I am going to, now that I can communicate with him telepathically, I am going to get down on his level, and I'm going to say, personally, I think that a bloodline such as this needs to be taken care of permanently. And I think you're the perfect man to do it. And I'm going to cast suggestion on him. So I need him to make a wisdom saving throw. Which it doesn't explicitly say, but I would imagine that he gets disadvantage on that because it's social with...
I'm going to give him a +3 to wisdom because this is the wholesomest man I've ever played. He rolled with disadvantage. He got 2 10s, so that is a 13.
He fails.
You see great, giant pools of tears appear at both ends of his eyes and stream down his face. And he's stuttering and he goes, yeah, I guess that's right. I guess the bloodline should be dead. Should I start with me or Emery or... I don't want to... My folks are back at Wessex and I don't... I think they might... I hope they're still good. Do I still gotta kill them?
I think you already know the answer to that.
Oh. He weeps and the thing... How do you cast this a thrall on this man? Like, what's the method with which you cast it on him?
When I cast Enthrall, I essentially, whenever he is incapacitated, I simply just touch his forehead, and it works. But then as far as the suggestion goes, from having the finger on his forehead, I'll sort of go down and like caress his chin, and then let
Bristly
my
beard
hand...
comes up with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I'm gonna say just for flavor, the same lyre that is on your forehead appears on his forehead for a moment, and then sinks into his brain as you complete the spell, and he kind of finishes crying. Elizabeth releases him, and he just is
You
weeping
froze.
sadly on his knees. What?
You froze for a second there.
Oh, Elizabeth releases him, and he's just weeping on his own on his knees for a moment, just softly weeping, kind of unsure of what's even going on in his head right now. But yeah, that is effective. He will use all efforts in his disposal to kill his own family, which right now seems to be returning to Old Wessex.
Okay. Cool.
Would you like to send him after Emery?
No. I want this... I imagine this would be more of a you can't go home again kind of thing.
Brutal.
Yes.
Truly awful.
Yes.
Okay. So you finish this truly, truly awful, potentially most evil act I've ever seen done in D&D. Then you kind of have the rest of your day. I'm going to provide 2 things that come up, and we'll just improvise these as they go through.
Before that happens, I will say that once this is done, he tells Elizabeth to get him out of there, or out of here, and send him on his way, and also to just leave him for a minute. And he drops, or no, he keeps the disguise self up, but he hasn't done this before. And aside from, and he couldn't actually, like, before, when he sort of requested that the Emperor's son be killed, he was very non-committal about it. was sort of hoping to just put him out in the boat and let nature take its course. Didn't really do anything to guide it along. So this is the first time that he's actually used his magic to make someone else kill someone, and it's getting to him a little bit. So he is going to
Yeah.
cry for a few minutes.
Roll me a perception check.
Wow, 17.
We'll apply this to a couple things throughout the rest of the day
Mhm.
because it's a really good roll and I want you to see more. Elizabeth is looking at you with a look of abject terror. You have crossed a boundary in her mind and you're like Satan himself. And
Mhm.
it doesn't like, she doesn't seem like she hates you. It seems like a strange awe, like a strange, like, whoa, you know, like not hatred, just terror, just awestruck terror. She, after this has happened, you've cried for a moment. She kind of stuttering says, "Sir, Edward has been in my little pocket dimension for a full day without food or water. Do we want to let him fully perish or maintain him in his isolation? Because it would be simple for me to give him food and water and allow him to waste away alone of old age. Is that something you'd
What we're
want?"
doing here wrong, Elizabeth?
Yes. Yes, it is wrong. But when you have powers like this, it's easy to be wrong. And it definitely feels right.
Listen, I don't want to hide anymore. I've been hiding for the past 4 years of my life. And I've hated it. My goal has always been to be with Karina, and now it seems that will not happen. So now I only want to hurt those who have hurt me. It's the sickest form of revenge. I know. I've read many a novel about this very thing, and it is all consuming.
She, Elizabeth, her breath has gotten heavy as she's heard you talking. And she, you know, she's kind of scantily clad. She's let the, you know, disguise herself from Edward. It doesn't matter that Warren is in the room because he's under your thrall. He'd never rat you out ever.
Oh, I
Um,
sent him away.
yeah,
He's
so he's not
gone.
in the room anyway. She pulls down her skirt and reveals a line of scars that look as if they are brands in a row, and there are about 6 of them. And she says, "I'm a half-orc woman, and I was a noble. I was used by those of the noble house. And these weren't given to me by them. I put those here to mark each time I killed one of them." And she grabs your hand and holds your hand really tight. She says, "And I can promise you, each one felt better than the last." Is it right? No. But nothing feels as good. She's kind of shaking, and you've kind of seen this heart of vengeance in her as well. As this happens, as this exchange ends and there's this awkward silence, yeah.
During the awkward silence, I'm going to say, and so, doesn't that mean that Pith is responsible for all of this?
For all of our warlock levels? For what do you mean? All of our warlock powers?
For all of our distress. Without her, I would have remained a helpless child on the beach looking for answers and not being able to reach his love. And none of this would have ever happened in the way that it has. I would not have died. Karina would not have died.
When you fell off of that boat, you said you had a way. You said you wanted to find a way to kill Pith, and that's why I followed you. And I've been entertaining your little spritz off to Old Wessex because having power and being emperor sounds fun. But maybe it's not, doesn't feel good enough. Is that what you think?
Being emperor as someone else feels like cheating. I wish only to attain that title myself, if I were to achieve it at all. And I am not sure if I even want that anymore.
She says, well, I am here to support you as you figure it out. If you want my vote, I think you're right. Pith is the root of all the problems. But killing all those who have harmed you will feel good. And if you want to feel good, that is another thing you can do. And trust me, looking at how powerful you are, that you can do quite safely. Taking on Pith, probably not. As you guys finish this conversation, do you mind if I proceed?
Mm-hmm.
A couple warlocks show up at your door and they go, "Oh, boss, this guy showed up and he says he wants to talk to you. He's a warlock and he's right scary. And he presents to you this man who's bald, has several piercings studded into his bald head, tons of tattoos all over his body. And you see that a strange pallor of the abyss has appeared over him. And just glancing at him, you know that this man has reached level 20 and has killed many, many, many people in his effort to become so. He goes, "Hey, so you're the new empress, is that right?"
Yes, and who are you?
Call me Doggin.
It's nice to meet you, Dargan. What can we do for you?
Well, I'm right powerful. And I don't think I'm interested in becoming king, but I think you're interested in power. So I figured, hey, bing, boom, you let me kind of become part of your little crew here, and I go do stuff for you. And then when you go back to Old Wessex, I have a nice little cushion. How's that sound?
Sounds like a good idea.
I do wonder, would you be doing these things on your own?
Yeah. See, I think I got some special power. He takes up a dagger, slices his hand open, and he bleeds for a moment, porously down, and he just goes, "Mm." And he holds his hands open, and it's healed over. And he's like, I can cut off my own head if you want me to show you that, but I don't think I can die.
Interesting.
He goes, watch. He
Would
just breaks his own neck real quick, and then slowly
would
works it back.
Johan have known anything about the Undying at all?
Probably not. This would be totally new, aberrant information to him. He would have never even.
Can I roll a next to impossible history check just in case?
Yeah. Roll next to impossible history check.
Since I am proficient in history.
I'll say DC 25.
No, I rolled a 14.
I'm going to say the best Johan can do is go, I guess a god could do that, but like, sure, gods can do anything. There's stories of like, gods having their heads chopped off, and about a Linden had her head chopped off and put back on by Pith. So
Interesting. Well, I will send some people with you while I rule back on Old Wessex. I would hate for you to find that you actually can die and then the task be left undone.
sounds fair. I mean, I haven't, I've gone tested a lot of stuff, but I don't want to go crazy, right?
I'm sure. I'm not doubting your strength. I'm just being careful.
No, you ain't doubting my strength. That's right.
I'm just being careful.
Roll me an insight check on this guy.
Natural 20. Plus
He is insane.
1.
This man is skinhead, terrifying, most terrifying ideologies imaginable. His mind is a victim complex layered on top of a god complex, all wrapped up in the smarmy charm of a guy who just realized he can't die. This guy is an animal.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, how about this? I have a man I want you to track down, or a woman I want you to track down.
A woman.
First of all, I'm gonna bring, or we're in that room still. Okay. I'm gonna drop my disguise, first of all. And I'm going to say, obviously, I'm not who I say I am. But I think you will understand when the time comes that you can't get anywhere without a little bit of deception. But anyway, the woman that you just saw me as...
The Empress, right?
Yes. Find her and do whatever you want.
You mean like kill, have some fun? What are you thinking about here? This guy does not know that you're married to her.
Give her this and tell her it's over. And I'm going to take off the wedding ring and I'm going to hand it to him.
That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, and then kill her? And then do whatever?
Just kill her friends.
Just kill her friends. Leave her alone.
Yes. More specifically, no.
Not her friends. One friend in particular. She's the captain of a ship run by a man with a gaudy mustache who thinks
Gaudy
much too
mustache.
highly of himself.
Okay.
Kill her, then return to Old Wessex, and you'll have your cushy lifestyle.
Sounds like a plan. All right. So find the girl, give her the ring, tell her it's over, kill not the guy with the bushy mustache, but the captain of the ship of the guy with the bushy mustache.
Yes, and now, what was her name again?
Atria.
Atria. I'll say her name is Atria.
Is she an elf, a human? What is she? What's she got going on? She's a tiefling.
She's one of the demon folk.
Oh, demon folk. Right. Well, look who's the demon folk now. He pokes and prods at his own little studs on his head.
Yes. Very nice and clever.
Oh, thanks. I can tell we're going to get along real well. He opens up for a hug, comes in to give you a big hug. This guy reeks.
Yeah, I don't reciprocate, but I accept it. It's like giving an introvert a hug. It's like,
yeah. And he takes the ring and he goes, "This thing's expensive, but I'll follow your thing. I'm sure that whoever the lady does has plenty of gold. And I'll see you in about a couple weeks. I mean,
sure. Whatever you think is necessary."
All right. And he walks out. Elizabeth goes, probably a good call. I don't think he's a few screws loose. Keep him far away.
Well, about that, once we're done with Old Wessex, seems to have a good amount of knowledge as to where he seems to be a man that can find things, if that makes sense.
Right.
If he can find the old party, then it stands to reason that we can follow him there to them.
You're not stupid. You make some weird decisions, but you are a smart man. She goes, okay, that's right. It's all good. We will keep tabs on him. I'll make sure one of the warlocks that's sent with him has a way to contact me and will alert us when he finds him.
Good. And once we make our way back to Old Wessex, make sure that one of our wizards there knows how to maintain the teleportation circle so we can get where we need to quickly.
Right. Smart move. She goes, okay, very productive day. Kind of shakes her head. It's slowly turning from a terror awe to a I get it. Like she's connected to something that she hated in her own life. Now, we're going to say you guys start your journey back to Old Wessex. This will line up. What time would you have tried to scry on Karina? It would probably be the next day, night, or the next tomorrow.
It'd probably
night.
be the next day. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the way back to Old Wessex, you think to scry on her?
Yeah.
Okay. You see them in the basement. You see them enter into the Temple of Torin. You see him talking about wanting to reach out to, but not having the spell to do so, to reach out to Edward. And then you see them all talk about Dragon Curse. Oh, that Dragon Curse. Oof, Dragon Curse. Give me an insight check.
Natural 20 plus 1,
oh,
so 20.
Oh my gosh. You, with your scrying eye, you see Chow look directly into the eye of the thing and go, Dragon Curse! Oh, man!
I'd like to imagine that the eye just sort of goes like, really?
Yeah, and everybody does a horrible job trying to hide that they detected you, but you can tell that he's detected you scrying on Karina. And you hear them mention the Codex, and you would have known through your own the legends of the Codex and what's important. But you know that your thing is dispelled. That night, you're on your way back to Old Wessex. In the doorway of your bedroom where you're sleeping, Swissine, the warlock that you slept with in the hospital, suddenly appears, and she looks very dazed and confused, and she's just appeared out of this black mass. Roll me a history check on this.
14.
This woman just went through the same experience you did 4 years ago on the Ojoysa, when you went through the portal in your doorway and woke up 3-4 days later in the ocean, struggling to get breath. Her time was just lost, and it passed like a second for you while you were in the depths. And she's, oh, where am I? You're the man from the hospital, aren't you? I recognize you. I was going to call you
because I was definitely disguised as someone else.
Well, yeah, but you fucked way better than that guy, and then you killed that guy the next day right in front of me.
Well, in my defense, he was trying to kill you, and you are quite magnificent. So,
Can I have? No time has passed, so she doesn't need food. She doesn't need water. She's just panicked and confused and disoriented. But she seems to be holding on to you as kind of a root. Like she's not. She was a woman of the land before, and she's a salt of the earth. You know, she enjoys. She's not an air quotes good person. You know, but she's very scared right now.
I'm gonna say, I think I know where you just were. You were in the abyss, the dark, just below the sea.
Dark forever and monsters that just appeared, and it was just for a second though.
It's been several days.
It's been days? What's happened? Am I okay? Did that guy die that you stabbed in the chest?
He is not a problem anymore. You, on the other hand, are fine. You're totally okay. Come sit down on the bed with me. And
right.
Yeah.
She does, and I think that's where we're gonna cut away for now and continue the story later on. Is there anything else that
Yes.
Johan would like to do? Yeah.
One night, while we are going through everything, I would like Elizabeth. I would like everybody on my ship specifically to not be in disguise. And not specifically, but they get my father. They gag him and blind him and bring him up to the deck. And then me, also not in disguise, I'm going to take the blindfold off of him.
I knew there was something fishy. What are you doing, Johan? Where's Karina?
I don't know where Karina is, but she's not here.
No, he's gagged, so if he would just be, I guess.
I'll ungag him.
Okay, great. Well, why have you tied me up? I'm on your side. I'll always be on your side.
You see, I told you earlier, once I had attained the role of emperor, that then you could be sorry for me. Once I had undone, or I had managed to fix every mistake that you caused, then you could be sorry, right? You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Well, there's one mistake that I can't fix, Father.
And that mistake is me. Had you not been so abusive to my mother, I would have never been born. And none of this would have ever happened. So in a sense, this is all your fault. And I think that that deserves a very, very harsh punishment. Don't you think, Father?
So you're blaming me for your birth. Kid, you're always going to be a victim. And I wanted to love you, and I did a bad job, but I tried. If killing me, makes me feel like you can be a big man, makes me feel like you're born now, makes me feel like your problems are fixed, cool. But you're not going to stop being a victim. It won't be me. It'll be somebody else. It'll be your wife. It'll be your friends. It'll be anybody who's ever slighted you. So if killing me is the best way for me to say I'm sorry, do it. Kill me. Just know that I am sorry, Johan, and I wish I was a better dad. I hope you can stop being a little pissant. He spits.
I am not a victim. I'm in control. Now, more than ever.
Is that so? He nods. You can tell he's scared. He says, "You all right on that? You seem to run the kingdom now. Is killing your dad something you want to do? Will that make you feel like you're in control?"
I'm not going to kill you.
Great. Can I take back everything I said? Because I thought
Stick
you
him
were
in the
going to
boat.
kill me. What?
I say stick him in the boat, and I will have had them prepare a rowboat with no oars and no food, and put him in the boat and then set him adrift at sea.
You hear him yelling from the boat. You can't even kill a man right. You non-committal. He's just screaming and yelling from the boat as you see him slowly bounce off. Now, I will say, he did say that his own boat would be following behind him. And so he's going to try and yell out to them, and they're following close behind. But I will let you have known that and have made a slightly different decision, or sink the boat or silence him or something like that.
In that case, I'll cast suggestion on him as well. To keep him from, keep him from going back to his own ship.
Okay. What's the ZC save on that? He only got like
19.
7, so he fails.
So when he sees his ship come by, he just
Waves them off.
stays in the water and does not do anything.
Okay, you see your father slowly disappear over the horizon of the waves as his fate is left unknown.
Cool. And that's all I wanted to do.
All right, you return to your bed that night with a Swissine quartine in your bed. Anything else?
Well, I mean, obviously Swissine and I are going to do it, but...
Do you want to roll performance? But I assume it's going to be fine. I mean...
24.
She only got a 5 on the die. I hate this. She only got an 8. All right. I don't hate it. It's a love-hate. Okay.
Funny.
That's the end of the story of Johan for now. Like I gotta force quit this thing Not because you're keeping it going, just because I'm worried you're going to do something more awful than convince a father to kill his family.
Well,
Okay, I'm going to call it. Are you good?
yeah, I'm good.
Okay,